Hello and welcome to the 2017 ANNA Capitol Hill Day webinar on how to make the most of your Capitol Hill meetings. My name is Jim Twaddell and I'm a Senior Vice President at the District Policy Group in Washington, D.C. I serve as ANNA's Health Policy Consultant and I will be leading today's webinar. Let me start by just telling you a little bit about myself and about the District Policy Group. We are a group of professional lobbyists and advocates who are part of the law firm of Drinker, Biddle, and Reith. We work in advocating on behalf of clients' interests before legislative and executive branch agencies at both the federal and state level. And our bipartisan team has extensive experience in government relations, advocacy, Capitol Hill policy and politics, federal agency rulemaking, grassroots organizing, social media, and coalition building. We, as a group, assist ANNA on a number of things, including preparing for the upcoming Capitol Hill Day. So let's talk just a little bit about some of the details that will take place and a little bit that you should know about the 2017 Capitol Hill Day. We know that for many individuals that you may be listening to this and may not already be registered to attend the Capitol Hill Day or not sure if you should attend or if this is something that you're even able to attend. So we wanted to provide some information about the Capitol Hill Day that you might find useful. And I would also mention that if you go to the ANNA website under National Events and then click on the Capitol Hill Day tab, you will see a number of this information, a number of other resources. So first, who can participate? ANNA members, all nephrology nurses. If you're attending the National Symposium or attending the Volunteer Leaders Workshop, you are able to participate in the Capitol Hill Day. Why should you attend? Well, we think it's a great opportunity to learn more about health policy issues, to advocate for nephrology nursing, and a chance to go to Capitol Hill and have your voice heard. And additionally, there is this opportunity both on this webinar and in another training that will happen on the day of the actual visits to Capitol Hill that will help with learning more about the legislative process. And I will say on the website you'll find information about scheduling your legislative visits, and I'll provide more detail about how to do that during the course of the webinar. So when is Capitol Hill Day and what's involved in it? So the Capitol Hill Day will occur on Friday, April 7th in Washington, D.C. The planning and preparation for it will be at the Marriott Wardman Park in Washington, D.C. And again, the information is all available on the ANNA website. We will have a breakfast, continental breakfast for everyone participating in the Hill Day, and that's from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., and that's in Washington 4 meeting room. Next door, we will have an actual in-person training that myself and others from the District Policy Group will provide, and that's just an opportunity to help prepare you for your meetings and give you more detail on the issues, which we'll cover in this webinar and answer any questions. So much of that in-person training will be building upon the items we cover in this webinar. A lot more detail on the policy issues and an opportunity to answer any kind of questions that you might have. And again, as we indicated, that the Capitol Hill visits will occur from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and participants will be visiting legislators once they've made appointments for those meetings in advance. Just a note on the timing, if you end up trying to make your appointments and you are unable to, or you're able to secure a meeting, but it's prior to the 9 a.m. Hill training, and you have an 8:30 meeting, or you need to leave for a 9 a.m. meeting, and it takes a little time to get from the hotel to Capitol Hill, go ahead and attend that. You can skip the Capitol Hill training if necessary, and you can merely contact us, and we're happy to work with you on preparing in advance. Additionally, if you get a later afternoon meeting, you can be on Capitol Hill later than 4 o'clock, but we wouldn't recommend it. There's a lot of important programming going on at the symposium, and we'd encourage you to attend everything after that. So we'd encourage you to not take meetings after the 4 p.m. hour. A few other details about Capitol Hill Day. There is no registration fee to participate. There is an online, you can indicate that you're going to attend. We'd like to know how many people to expect and so that way we can plan and make sure we have enough materials and background material for everybody. So that's just an important note. Expenses. You're responsible for your own expenses. We recommend taking a cab from the Wardman Park Hotel to Capitol Hill. It's estimated at being about $15. That is the most effective, that's the fastest and easiest way to get to Capitol Hill. While there is a metro system, it's not as reliable and oftentimes doesn't get you as close to where you need to be for your meetings. In addition, as I mentioned with the timing, we're encouraging participants to visit either the House or the Senate. You can reach out to both when scheduling, but if you try to do both, sometimes the timing and logistics going between either the House side or the Senate side of Capitol Hill can be extremely difficult. So let's discuss what you can do before you come to Washington, D.C. to be prepared for your meetings and what else you can do in advance to make sure that you've covered everything you need to do. Well, I mentioned scheduling your meetings, and so I want to give a little bit more detail on this and also provide some resources for you. You are responsible for scheduling your own Capitol Hill Day meeting. So neither the ANNA national staff nor the folks at the district policy group are going to be scheduling the meetings for you. So you need to do that outreach on your own. And the most effective way to do that is to find the contact information for the Washington, D.C. office of your representatives or your United States Senator's office and email their healthcare staff person requesting a meeting. We recommend you email first, then you can follow up with a telephone call, and then you can call and email again as a follow-up. Sometimes it's not as quick to secure a meeting, and a little follow-up is required. Now, the detailed information of how to find the contact information for your member of Congress and what to put in the email and how to phrase everything can be found in a set of instructions that, again, are on the ANNA website, National Events, Capitol Hill Day, and you'll see all the information you need. Also, if you do actually register and let us know you're going to attend the Hill Day, I believe we can email you the information as well. So what else can you do while you're at home and before you come to D.C.? This is just in the area of better understanding some of the policy issues and being comfortable with the offices you're going to meet with. The websites of representatives and senators are often a place where you'll find the contact information, but it's also a great place of information about your members of Congress. They oftentimes, we assume that we know everything about them because of their political party or because of things we've read in the news, but the actual information on what they've voted on, bills they've introduced, their bio, and what committee assignments they're on are all valuable for understanding who they are and their position and role within the Congress. And so I would just encourage you to go to their websites and look over some of that information. And go to ANNA's website. The health policy section has quite a bit of information and background on a number of different issues. Some of which we'll be covering during the Capitol Hill Day, and other ones that might just be useful for you better understanding ANNA's overall health policy agenda. But to be specific to what you'll be talking about on Capitol Hill, or as we use the term, the ask, what you'll be going to Capitol Hill to ask for members of Congress to support, there is a set of materials, and those materials, again, I'll mention this later, but will be provided to you during the in-person training. But they are available on the ANNA website, again, under the Capitol Hill Day tab that provides you with information on the specific policy issues that we'll be asking for. There are 3, and then an individual fact sheet on each of those issues. So I'll go over this in a little bit more detail, but we want you to be able to go to that website and to familiarize yourself with this information before you come to D.C. It's great plain reading material if you want to print it out and take it with you. It's a great opportunity to feel comfortable with the material. Another tip that we recommend is that, in looking over the fact sheets, is that you kind of sketch out your talking points. We're not going to provide the specific talking points for you, but many of the messages and information and data points in the fact sheets provide a guide for how you might want to make your various points. And we're going to encourage you to use your own voice and to sketch out how you think the conversation should go. and it's also a great way to just be more comfortable with the issues. As you do that, if you come across questions or you're curious about something or you want a little bit more information and background to prepare, feel free to contact us, to email us, and that information, contact information, is provided at the end of the webinar. So, what to expect on Capitol Hill? And again, we'll cover much of this in greater detail when we do our in-person training, but we want to go over some highlights so that you can be prepared. Business cards are a vital thing to bring with you. If you don't have them, it's not at the end of the world, but you want to give people, the staff members that you're meeting with, contact information for you, and business cards always tend to be the fastest and easiest way to do that. One note is that if you do have your business card is obviously for your professional life, and you want to mention when you hand over your business card during the Hill Day that you're there representing ANNA and not necessarily your employer. Sometimes that cannot be fully understood by the staff, and you want to emphasize that point when you are in the meeting. Professional clothing, I just would say that in Capitol Hill, business clothing is what's expected, and when you're up on Capitol Hill representing ANNA, we encourage you to be in business attire, and additionally, we also recommend wearing comfortable shoes. Everything does require quite a bit of walking, and while you're up there, the seating is always limited, so I would encourage you to wear something comfortable on your shoes so that you don't get worn out by the end of the day. Hill meetings themselves, this is a reality, and for some people who've attended Capitol Hill Day before, they know some of these things. They don't really change, but there are, again, some good tips. The staff you'll be meeting with are relatively young. Many of them, again, are under the age of 30 years old. They have limited experience in healthcare. Now, this isn't true in every instance, but it is true in many, and we want you to be prepared for that so that you're not surprised. The meeting space. There's not a lot of meeting space on Capitol Hill, so you could end up in a hallway. You could end up not having a particular small conference room, whatever it might be, meeting in the reception area. Just don't be surprised if that's the case. It's not a snub. It's just something that the staff have no control over, and space is very, very limited. So there will be a limited amount of time for the meeting, so we recommend that you prepare to, as you sketch out your talking points and think about what you're going to say, or if you're attending your meetings with someone else and both of you are going to speak, that you divide out what you're going to say and prepare for about 15 minutes. If you're lucky, the meeting might go 30 minutes or longer, in which case it's a great opportunity to build a rapport and a relationship with the person. But we always say prepare for about 15 minutes. And the other thing is, don't assume that the staffers know everything about healthcare or everything about ANNA or nursing or kidney disease. You want to avoid using acronyms and be patient and prepare to give them kind of a basic understanding of the disease. So don't just say ESRD or CKD. You want to be able to explain what that means. And if you get an indication that they know exactly what you're talking about, then great. But in some cases, they may not know, and you don't want to just assume. A few more tips in how to have a successful meeting is to, and again, this all goes to the preparation, but you want to summarize all your requests up front. You want to build a rapport with the person, but at the same time, because the meeting might be cut short due to time, you want to say up front that I'm here today to talk to you about these 3 issues. And say it up front, and then you can provide all the details of why they should support the issues as you go through the rest of the meeting. Be brief, clear, and mindful of the time. It's important that, again, you get to the point fairly quickly, but at the same time, allow for questions and an opportunity for an exchange. Personal examples always help. Discussing outcomes and consequences is always vital to them better understanding the issues. We want you to listen to them as well. Sometimes as you get prepared and you go through your talking points, you don't add in the idea that they may ask you a question and they're curious or they don't understand something. And this is a great opportunity, but you're going to miss it if you don't just listen to the questions that they might have. If they do ask you a question and you don't know the answer to it or you're not sure, don't guess. Just acknowledge that you don't know the answer and that you would use this as an opportunity to follow up with them and get them the answer a little bit later. We always say this is a good thing because actually it helps you in follow-up and having an exchange and getting into a regular dialogue with the staff. The follow-up. When the meeting concludes, you want to express thanks, but one of the things that we think is the most effective is that the most important things that happen out of these meetings aren't what actually happens in the meeting, but what happens afterwards. So the follow-up is extremely important. So while you thank them for their time during the meeting, you want to be able to follow up with them, and that's why the contact information and exchange of business cards is really important. Phone calls are nice, but usually an email is the best way to do it because there's a record and there's an opportunity for you to think out exactly what you'd like to say. So express thanks, offer to be a resource, that you've got their business card and their contact information so you can follow up. And one other just encouragement as you go through the meeting or as you work with the office and the staff person in the future is to always be polite but persistent. Sometimes you're not going to agree with people about politics, and sometimes you're not going to agree about issues, and sometimes there might just be personality differences. But it's really important to always be polite, but don't let a little bit of resistance prevent you from being persistent in what it is you're asking for. So what are you asking for? What are the details? What are the issues that you're going to discuss? Now, I'm going to provide more of this in the in-person training, and again, all the materials are available on the ANNA website, so you can review them. But we want to give you just a little bit of an understanding of what the issues are so that you can do your own research and you can spend a little time and be a little bit more comfortable with the issues. So as I mentioned before, we have 3 issues. The first is requests to co-sponsor the Living Donor Protection Act. That's H.R. 1270, and that's just in the House of Representatives. So that means the H.R. means the bill was introduced just in the House, not in the Senate. This bill would protect the living donors from increases in insurance premiums. It was just recently introduced, and it's something that ANNA has supported previously, and we'd encourage members in the House of Representatives to co-sponsor the bill. Second is to co-sponsor the Title VIII Nursing Workforce Development Reauthorization Act, and that's H.R. 959. Again, only introduced in the House so far. If you go to a Senate meeting and you discuss either of these 2 bills, you're going to be urging your senators to support the introduction of a Senate version of that. And again, more detail about that in the in-person training. This legislation is, again, something ANNA has supported previously, and it would ensure that nursing education programs are authorized so they continue to receive funding. ANNA has supported with the broader nursing community funding for these specific programs. This bill would actually reauthorize or allow us to continue the function and operation of those programs. And finally, the last request is to support funding for the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, and this is housed at the National Institutes of Health. The specific funding numbers and the history about the funding for this program and some of the research being done there will be included in the training, and there's background information about it, again, in the fact sheets that are on the ANNA website. A few final just reminders and notes is that the in-person training for Capitol Hill Day that I've mentioned several times will take place from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. in Washington 5 meeting room, and that's the Marriott Wardman Park, Washington, D.C. on April 7th. Capitol Hill attendees will be provided leave-behind packets. So those are the actual fact sheets and all the things that are on the ANNA website under the Capitol Hill tab. Those materials will be printed out and provided to you so that you can leave them behind with the Capitol Hill staff during your meetings. And the fact sheets that you'll use, again, within the webinar, there's a link to them. We hope that you'll familiarize yourself with them, that you'll review them, and that you will think of anything, questions, or points that you'd like to make or personal examples before you come to Washington, D.C. So, questions. This webinar obviously is not live. It's being taped, so the thought here is that if you do have questions that you might contact me directly. Again, my name is Jim Twaddell with the District Policy Group. And my contact information is here, my telephone number, as well as my email address. Feel free to contact me and let me know if there are questions you have about the materials, logistics, or planning. And I will be happy to get back to you and point you in the right direction. Well, we hope this webinar has been useful, and we look forward to seeing you in Washington, D.C. Please have safe travels, and we look forward to a productive Capitol Hill Day. Thank you.